Hello, it's me, We Anime or Anime We, and I'm here to bring you part 3 of What If Deku Had an Elemental Quirk. Now, I may sound out of it because the past two times I've tried to record this, my phone has shut off. Like, you know how it kind of darkens and, like, it's about to turn off? And I just haven't noticed since then. Okay, so I'm pissed off right now. Okay, I am. I need to figure out how to, like, turn it off. Like, don't do this. Or not turn it off, but up the time. Okay, I need to up the time to like every 30 minutes or every 5 minutes. Something. I need it higher than it is. And I don't even know what it is. Okay? Okay? Anyways, enough about my rambling. Let's get into the story. You all better watch me. Because this is just the start of my journey. To become a hero. Maybe the greatest you've ever seen, but I doubt that, honestly. I'm not that great. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna try my best. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna give it 100% of my energy and my time. Okay, I want to go all out today. So the ones in front of me, you all better go all out, 110%. Okay, and to the ones in the crowd, to the heroes, to the civilians, and whoever else is here, and the ones watching through a screen. Watch me become a hero. Watch me become someone who will never be forgotten. What was that? What do you mean? What was that speech about watching you? We both know what it means. I'm gonna make sure my name reached reaches heaven. The highest place in heaven or the deepest place in hell. Got it. But we both know where your name and my name needs to reach. Yeah, I know. Then the obstacle course race would be chosen by the wheel. And now it's time for the race. Izuku and Bakugo would immediately charge ahead and stay in ahead of everybody else. Bakugo with his explosions, and Midoriya with the winds boosting his speed and his feet, well, on his feet, making him fly. Okay, just fly. Those two would be tied. They're equal places. And then freeze. And then the tunnel would freeze up, making sure nobody can move. As Todoroki would be in a dilemma following Bakugo and Izuku, Midoriya. Those three would stay in the top three all the way through the race. Izuku and Bakugo fighting for first. As they would get closer to the zero pointers, Izuku's left right arm would erupt in flame as he would reel back his fist as he would. Well, he's not using his wind anymore. Okay, it's not there anymore. He has to switch. Okay, so he would switch to his flame as I explained. His right arm from the elbow down would erupt in flame as he would reel back his fist. As he would close in the distance with this zero pointer, closer and closer and closer, and then finally he would punch it in the chest, leaving a gaping hole in the middle of it. Melting metal, uh, wires exposed and broken. Midori would fly through, boosting himself with fire before switching back to his wind side, or wind portion. Well, wind power, okay? As he would continue to fly through the air. Now fighting with Todoroki for second place, since now their Eagle and Bakugo blasted ahead to first place. All three of these students would be in this dilemma of everyone switching first place. Todoroki would be in first place. Izuku, then Bakugo. Izuku again, Todoroki. Bakugo, Todoroki again. Bakugo, Todoroki. Izuku blasting ahead. And then Todoroki would be ahead. Bakugo, Todoroki, Izuku, Bakugo, Izuku, Todoroki. Todoroki would hold it for a minute, and then Bakugo, Izuku, Todoroki again, Bakugo, Izuku, Todoroki, Bakugo, Izuku, Todoroki, Bakugo. Bakugo would be in first place. And then he would be in front. He would change directions to be in front of Izuku. As he would do that, he would kick Izuku in the chest to explode off of him to win first place. Izuku would regain his balance in the air to gain second place, as Todoroki would win third, and so on and so forth. Then cavalry battles would be announced. Everyone would be trying to make a good team, right? But Bakugo and Izuku already had a plan. It was going to be those two against everybody else, no matter what. So, a team of the first and second place winners of the obstacle race would team up. And that's what they would do. Bakugo would be the head of the stable, while Midoriya would be, well, the workhorse, basically, to say the least. Then they would just proceed to spin that entire competition running around, stalling for time, not stealing anybody other's bands because they don't need them. They have enough points by themselves. So it doesn't matter if they steal anybody else's. It just matters that nobody still steals theirs. So that's why they just spent the entire time running around. I mean, I've already said what they did. So yeah, I, I don't know. What do you want me to do? say they don't do it. Too bad they do. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. I'm not good at this. Now, some of you would say different, but and I thank you for that. But in reality, we all know I'm not that good at this. I have gotten better at what ifs. Uh, my phone hasn't. My phone is a piece of. Ugh, it's such a butthole. See, a little bit behind the scenes before we get into the one-on-one fights, right? I've tried to record this two other times. This is currently my third time, and I'm hoping I don't speak this into reality. But my phone has been shutting off. Like you know how the screen kind of darkens and then it shuts off. That's what's been happening. I just haven't noticed. So, um, I, right. So I'm gonna just casually click the screen, and I'm hoping none of you really notice because it doesn't really matter, like at all. But yeah, I'm gonna just click my screen here and there. Okay, so you don't gotta really pay attention to the screen. Okay. Anyways, the first fight for Midoriya is in the first round, first fight, and his fight is against Kinya Ida. Quirk engine. I He has engines on his calves to make him run faster. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, now with the fight, there's clearly a clear winner. um, especially after the first presentation of Izuku. But the crowd never really seen anything but the wind and fire, so they don't know anything else about him or his quirk, elemental body, which I basically explained in previous parts. But to use his quirk, he uses like say the protein or the iron in his body, the calcium and whatever else, right? To use his quirk, right? Uh, okay, or the air in his lungs. At least he doesn't anymore. He kind of just trained his wind power to not use the air in his lungs anymore. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what happened. He now uses the air not in his lungs uh, anymore. So yeah. So as that would after I got done explaining that, as the fight would start, Izuku wanted to get this over with. He's tired of fast people. Okay, so what he would do, he would sink his right foot into the ground, well, actually both feet into the ground. As Ida would run towards him, a spot would open up in the ground. Ida would trip in it, face plant onto the ground, as the ground would cover up his feet, so he can't really escape. I mean, he could if he was fast enough, but then the earth would, or the concrete rather, would cover him. Not fully, right? But enough to where only his head is showing as he would be laying on the ground. Okay? Which he would try to break out, but he could only break out one foot before he would admit he would forfeit because he couldn't get out of that quickly. So Midoriya would get passed to the second round. But before his next fight against Shoto Todoroki, he would have a talk with him. See, Shoto would want to talk to Izuku about, well, how he's gonna beat him with only one side of his quirk, right? But Izuku would say, I'm gonna say this out of the kindness of my heart as a classmate and maybe friend. I don't know how you see it, okay? I'm gonna say this out of the kindness of my heart, but also the rudeness of my heart, Todoroki. You're dumb. You're stupid. If you don't realize that's your power, and you're never gonna make it in this world. Okay? That's what you gotta realize. That's your power. See, I thought like you once upon a time. Okay. And after what you told me about your past earlier, well, just now, I realized that our past are very akin in many ways. Um, I don't have siblings. Okay, but I did lose somebody to me. Okay, and our fathers are weirdly alike in a way. See, after I lost my mother to, um, well, certainly, well, part natural causes and a villain attack, he started to go a little crazy. See, he was way too quick about getting another partner. Okay? He was way too quick. See, the woman he's with now is not my mother. She's just someone I know. And I'd rather stay away from her. Um, I know I said I was really close to my father. I lied, okay? And I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that I lied. I'm. See, there's only one person that actually knows the truth to this, besides clearly my parents. Or, well, my dad. Okay? Bakugo. He knows. He knows. He knows. He's smarter than everyone gives him credit for. He's also not always this angry Pomeranian all the time either. Okay? Okay, you get me? See, I never wanted to use my quirk again. After I saw my dad just move on so quickly and basically forget about my mother. Okay? I never wanted to use it again. I just wanted to train in sword. But then I realized, how am I ever gonna get revenge? I wanted revenge. They've never caught my mother's killer. Unaliver, whatever. Right? Okay? They never caught her. Well, whoever it was, they never caught him. I wanted to make that. I wanted to bring justice to this person. Whoever they were, wherever they are. Okay? I wanted to bring justice to them. So I started to train in my quirk again. Around the age of 9. See, when I was younger, my quirk activated or awakened way sooner than anybody else's. It awakened when I was 3. And I couldn't breathe. I stopped breathing because my quirk was using the air in my lungs. My mother, who had a air quirk, wind related quirk, put air back in my lungs, and I'm here. And then we started training on my one part of my quirk to make sure That would never happen again. Okay. Uh, but not to my knowledge. That's how my mother's quirk worked. Every time she would use hers, it would take the air from her lungs and use them to power stuff. So, yeah. Uh, Whatever. Anyways, that's the past. I don't really let it live anymore. I try to hide it as best as I can. Sometimes it doesn't work as much. I clearly lost it at the USJ. Uh, I, okay. But anyways, back to where I was saying. That's your quirk, okay? Don't don't forget about the other side. Don't be like me. Let your past drive you instead of it letting it fuel your rage against your father, okay? Instead of it fueling everything that you hate, let it fuel whatever else. Fuel the path forward, okay? Anyways, I'm gonna go. Please, Todoroki, please let your past live. Unlike me, I let mine died. I let mine die a long time ago. And then he would go. He would go back to the cafeteria. You'd eat, and then it would be time for his fight against Todoroki. As he would be going down the tunnel, he would see somebody. He'd see Endeavor, Todoroki's father, and his basically his prison guard, to say the least. But he didn't let that in his head. He was still going to respect the man. Endeavor would say, respect is what I meant to say, not rest. Okay, anyways, yeah, continue. Hold on! I want to talk to you. Make sure my son uses his fire side, okay? And as you know, he would go on to say this type of stuff about how Shoto's his masterpiece, the one he's always wanted, the perfect hero to be All Might. Midoriya wouldn't say much, but I'll try. As he would walk away, ignoring Endeavor's words. Well, the rest that he would say. He would walk past. He would walk out to the arena as President Mike would be announcing him. Here he is, the top student in 1A, Midoriya Izuku, the Elementalist, or something. The calm hothead, the shocking storm, the shocking wind, the shocking earth, and the shattering sword. Izuku Midoriya. Right? It would be that him. Okay, it would be him. And then he would introduce Todoroki, the half hot, the half cold, uh, whatever. I don't know. And then they would stare off at each other, dead in each other's eyes, As Midnight would say, "Oh, man, this certainly does something with me, is how hot you two are looking at each other. But anyways, begin." They'd both stand there for a couple more seconds before Todoroki would just throw a massive iceberg. A massive wave of ice fully freezing Midoriya in an instant. But that wouldn't stop Midoriya. His You could see within it where Midoriya is. And you could see his body just instantly erupt in flame, melting the ice around him as he'd walk through it. As he would say, "So, what do you think about the words I've said? You think on them?" And Todoroki would say, "Yes, but I'm still gonna show my man I can beat everyone here with just my eyes." "Of course you are, Todoroki. Meant to say old man. Of course. Once again, it's your quirk, not his. They're your flames. It's your ice. Okay?" As as Izuku's flames would start to actually light his clothing on fire, Izuku would just, his body would, well, turn off the flames, bring him back in. But his clothing would still be on fire, like the sleeves, the lower parts of his pants would still be, scorched and still on fire, like actively on fire. The sleeves on his shirt, the all over his coat would still be on fire, right? Okay, so yeah, don't know why I went to there, but anyways, Izuku with his own ice power. What did I call it? Glacial? I think I called it glacial? Maybe? Oh no, I called it cold. Uh, he would he would stomp on the ground, and a massive, like, a pillar of ice would soar up into the sky as it would fall. It would fall onto Todoroki. It's not like as big. It's not big. Okay, it's like it's not big, but not. I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say like a like what Todoroki does, like a like straight form, like ice would form as he would like stomp the ground going towards Todoroki, like an ice path, basically, with like the spikes of ice. I hope you know what I mean. I'm about to explain it more, but hi, it's editing. I'm so sorry. This is currently my fourth try to record this episode. Since 2 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going great, and I got interrupted on this last time once again on this fourth. So technically, it's my fifth. Yeah. Anyways, continue. Right, that's what I meant, not a pillar. But anyways, so after he would do that, Todoroki would meet it with his own ice, and then Izuku's right arm would erupt in flame, burning the sleeve off completely, as he would just fire, just like a torrent of fire would erupt out of his hand towards Todoroki. As Todoroki would block it with ice, the ice would melt from the flame. Then he would, well, deactivate the flames and switch to water. He would put his hand a little bit above where Todoroki is, as water, like not droplets, but like a water. He's aiming it at Todoroki, just letting it arc to him. Okay, I'm about to say that, but I think I'm gonna better explain it here. Okay, that's what I mean. He's gonna arc it to hit Todoroki. Okay, that's what I meant. Or funnel, tunnel, whatever, torrent would fire through, fire out, as it would uh, arc above Todoroki. Todoroki would just freeze it. Midoriya turning it off or stop doing it after him realizing this. He would say, well, note to self, water's useless against this guy, unless he's using his fire side. Clearly. Okay. Okay. I'm not using gravity. I'm not going to use whatever the black void was. Don't know. I don't know what that was. Okay. Maybe lightning. Actually, I got an idea. He would stomp the ground again, but nothing would happen until two metal rods would shoot out from beside of Todoroki on each side and one behind him. As then Izuku would raise his hand to the sky as he would say, one more time I'll say this, it's your quirk, Todoroki. As his hand would start to spark with the electricity, as he would slam his hand to the ground, hitting it, a massive, just sparks of lightning would explode off, going straight for the three pillars, the three spikes, shocking them, and Todoroki. Todoroki would start to get shocked, tased basically. That's what it felt like. Midoriya ain't gonna go like high voltage, right? He's gonna tase him like his opponents throughout this fight. So that's what he would do. He would tase him, basically. Okay, but imagine being like tased three times, like, like, no, not three times, like three separate times, like at the same time. That's what it would be like. Okay, right, and then the metal like rods would sink back into the ground as he would scream at, well, yell at Todoroki, who would be like on the ground kneeling, right, as he would say, come at me with all you got or you're never gonna win. And then he would yell out Shoto, Todoroki, blah blah blah. And then he would say, show your old man that you're better than him. And then Todoroki would stare at him as he would stand up and say, you asked for it, as his entire right, left, whatever side it is, would erupt in flame. As Izuku would say, there we go. As his side would also erupt in flame. Well, his entire body would erupt in flame. His clothes being back on fire again after he put them out. Right. And then vroom, two massive uh, waves of fire would blast, connecting with each other, being very equal in power. Right. And then they would stop, and then ice. Two massive waves of ice would connect, crashing into each other at the same time. And then there would be fire. See, Todoroki knows that Izuku can't use two elements at the same time like he can. But with that, he basically has a option to do something. See, the wave of fire would be coming at him. So what he would do, his right foot would sink into the ground as a wall of concrete would go in front. He could feel the heat off of it, like it coming through, and then a wave of ice would crash into the wall, breaking it, as Izuku would jump up in the air with the air, well, with Gale, with a pulse of air into the air, right? A pulse of wind into the air as his body would be, well, electrified. A lot of electricity would pulse off of him as he would punch at Todoroki. A beam, well, not a beam, but like a, like a, like a, crap. But like a thing of electricity, like a lightning bolt, but smaller and less powerful. Like as powerful as a taser, but like a lightning bolt would pulse out of his hand as a wave of ice would just nullify it. Okay. As Midoriya would land on top of a ice thing, his feet would erupt in flame, melting through it, melting the ice around him. As he would say, "Finally, you're taking yourself seriously. Good. I can't just have one person to watch out for, can I? In this fight that I'm scared of to fight, that is. Because I know one person could beat me. But I know but I don't know. I know about all of Bakugo's tricks. By this point, I don't know anything about you, though. About the way you fight. Now with two separate powers, while you know how I work, I can only switch one at a time. But that could all change. I just gotta train more. Even if I don't win today, like I said I would, that doesn't matter. I was just saying all that to bring out the best of everybody else. So that they would go plus ultra with me. So, Todoroki, I'll give you everything I got. And you better do the same. As his right arm would be fully, actually his entire right side, like leg and all, would be erupted in flame. But more powerful. Almost like there's something helping it. But Izuku doesn't know. Okay? So his entire right side of clothes would be burnt. Like after this, but that's fine. As things would happen, it's not any of that. Let's just go with Slicer. They would both prepare for massive attacks. Right? Midoriya would bring his right arm close to his head and he would flatten his hand out bring his fingers together, and then he would slash, yelling out, "Flare! Slicer!" as Todoroki would yell out, "Flash Freeze! Heat Wave!" As these two attacks would connect, and then another attack, another uh, Izuku would put out, well, most of the flames on his clothes, even though they're mostly burned. Yes, his crotch is showing, but he's covering that up. Well, not right now, but he will. Like the steam will be covering it up. Then he would yell out, "Gale! Slicer!" In the same direction. They would both, the air would catch up to the flame, making it even powerful. And then as these two moves would connect, a massive shockwave, kind of, well, not as powerful as it is in canon, but more of a like a hot like flash and shockwave would fly through the entire arena, busting the windows, some melting the windows, and some of the metal bars, like railing, right? While on the ground, Todoroki's, as in canon, his like entire, I forget what side it is, would be like burned up. Well, Izuku's entire half of his crotch is showing. Uh, like his entire right side would be burnt. Right, his entire clothes would be off, like burnt off. His sandal's gone. Well, his right sandal is. Right, but they would still be willing to fight. Right, Midoriya would stand up as Todoroki would as well. Both clearly hurt, like not doing well at this current time, but they're still gonna fight. As they would walk close to each other, Todoroki would swing first, hitting Izuku in the side of the head, but then Izuku would do the same, punching him in the side of the head. Uh, Todoroki would envelop his fist in flame, punching him in the side of the face. That punch, burning, well, clearly scorching, like not a bad burn, but it still burnt him, like on the side of his face. And then Izuku would use ice to punch Todoroki in the side of the head. Okay, but Todoroki would block it with ice. Midoriya would switch immediately to metal, cracking through the ice with his right arm, cracking through it, hitting Todoroki, but Todoroki wouldn't go down. What he would do then would he would hug. Todoroki would hug Izuku. Strangely enough, like Izuku wasn't mad about it. Like he enjoys a hug, but he didn't realize that this hug meant being lit on fire, like being like just blast in flames and ice, just all at once, just boom, just flames would erupt, ice would freeze him, and then flames would melt him, well, out of the ice, and then Izuku would fall unconscious, and then Todoroki would too. Todoroki would fall onto Midoriya, just douche, just them. Well, Izuku got knocked out first. That was clearly the case, and then Todoroki fell next. But they still gave the win to Todoroki. Bakugo would be pissed. He wanted to fight Izuku again, which would happen because no one saw what the fight was going on in this last little bit because of the steam. They couldn't tell who got knocked out first. So they would both be moved up. One would be able to fight again the next round, which would be Todoroki, who will be fighting against uh, whoever. Okay? Probably Mei Hatsume. Okay? That's who Todoroki would be fighting. And Izuku would be blasted up to the finals. To where he would fight Bakugo. During Bakugo vs. Todoroki, he was cheering for Todoroki. He wanted Todoroki to win. But he also wanted Bakugo to win to settle the score. Which is going to happen. See, this fight is long awaited for both of these people. Both of these two characters. People, kids, teenagers, whoever. Right? But they never expected for this to happen. This fight to happen because no one saw who won against Todoroki with Todoroki and Izuku. Nobody saw. They never expected this to happen. But that was fine. It truly was. They were going to settle the score. Bakugo and Izuku. Out of the gate, after the fight would start, they would both start off heavy. Izuku would fire. He would blast fire, while Bakugo would explode. Send explosions, and he would blast off into the air. Izuku following him, but he didn't expect Bakugo to start spinning and tunneling down to him and yelling Howitzer Impact. So Midoriya did what the only thing he could possibly do. He fought back. He would yell out, not Elemental Slicer. Flare Slicer! As he would. He doesn't have a sword. I just like doing sound effects. Okay. But he would flatten his hands again, right? And he would slash. Flash. A fire slash will be sent at Bakugo, a very powerful one. As him and this thing would connect, Bakugo would overpower it. But Midoriya didn't stop there. As he would say, Silver Slicer, as his arm, as you know, it would be Silver Hammer, right? Silver Hammer, as his arm would be covered in like a metallic, silver, like metal, as he would slam his arm against Bakugo. There would be a standstill, right? But not for long. Bakugo would explode one last time directly in Midoriya's face, blinding him, setting him off course as boom, the Howitzer Impact would connect. And so, Katsuki Bakugo has won this year's sports festival. And yeah, that's where I'm going to end it for here today. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all next time. And you all better watch me. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, roll the dice. Hope to see y'all next time. Bye bye.